In a world where imagination knows no bounds, a young boy lives within the pages of a comic book where he possesses the extraordinary ability to bring anything he draws to life. Among his creations are his loyal friends, Moose and Porcupine, who accompany him on his many adventures. Years later, in the present day, this boy, now grown up and known as Harold, affectionately refers to the narrator of his story as Old Man. But when the old man mysteriously disappears, Harold, determined to find him, uses his trusted purple crayon to draw a door leading into the real world. With Moose by his side, he leaves Porcupine behind and steps through the door, only to find themselves lost in the unfamiliar reality beyond the comic's borders. As they venture into this new world, Harold draws a bike for them to ride as they search for the old man, whom Harold believes might actually be his father. Their journey takes an unexpected turn when Terry, the mother of a creative young boy named Mel, accidentally bumps into the bike with her car, causing a flat tire. Harold, without hesitation, draws a new tire, much to Terry's bewilderment, as she never sees him holding the crayon. Despite her confusion, Mel persuades Terry to let Harold and Moose stay in a room above their garage. That evening, Mel invites Harold downstairs, and the two boys quickly form a bond. In a gesture of friendship, Harold breaks off a piece of his magical crayon and hands it to Mel, sealing their connection with the promise of new adventures yet to come. The next day, Terry informs Harold and Moose that they need to leave while Mel is at school. Reluctantly, the duo complies, though Mel, eager to join the adventure, decides to skip school and teams up with them. The three friends head to the local library, where they meet Gary Natwick, the eccentric librarian. Gary, who has a tendency to ramble on about his ideas for stories, also shyly confesses that he has a secret crush on Terry. Harold, Mel, and Moose ask Gary for help in locating Harold's father using the library's computer. Despite his best efforts, Gary's search turns up nothing. As they leave the library, Harold uses his trusty purple crayon to draw an airplane, skywriting Terry's contact number in the clouds, with a plea for the old man to call. At that moment, Gary suddenly realizes which book Harold originated from. Meanwhile, Terry's phone begins to ring off the hook, flooded with calls from strangers who saw the message in the sky. The chaos is compounded when she receives a call from Mel's school, informing her that Mel was involved in a bullying incident and she needs to return home immediately. As Harold and Moose continue their search, they spot Harry at work. Moose, ever eager to help, volunteers to assist her by moving boxes. However, Moose quickly grows bored and starts causing chaos, which ultimately gets Terry fired. Despite the setback, it's revealed that Terry never really liked her job, and Moose's mischief may have been a blessing in disguise. Later, Harold, Moose, Mel, and Terry walk through the town, and Harold, having discovered earlier in the garage that Terry dreams of becoming a pianist, draws a beautiful piano for her to play. As she sits down to play, Gary reappears and reveals to Harold that the old man he was searching for is actually the author of the book Harold came from. The author's name was Crockett Johnson. The group then reunites with Porcupine, who had gotten into trouble with the law after being chased by the police for stealing a leather jacket. The situation escalates, and all of them end up getting arrested. However, Harold quickly draws a wrecking ball with his crayon, allowing them to escape. Porcupine then takes the crayon and draws a car, driving the group to Crockett Johnson's house, only to discover the heartbreaking truth that the author has passed away. This devastating news causes Harold to be overwhelmed with sorrow. As his grief deepens, all the drawings he brought to life begin to fade, including Moose and Porcupine, leaving Harold to confront the loss of not just his creator, but also his cherished companions. Harold meets Gary for a private conversation, during which Gary persuades him to hand over his magical crayon. Reluctantly, Harold agrees. But the moment Gary takes possession of the crayon, he uses it to trap Harold and transform himself into a fantasy warrior. Not long after, Mel arrives on the scene, only to be captured as well. However, Mel cleverly uses a small piece of crayon that Harold had given him earlier to free both himself and Harold. The duo confronts Gary in the town square, where he has been using the crayon to craft his own fantastical world. A fierce battle ensues as Harold and Gary fight for control of the crayon. In a desperate move, Gary swallows the crayon piece, gaining immense power and transforming the grassy landscape into a sea of molten lava. Determined to stop Gary, Mel calls upon his imaginary friend, Carl, whom he had drawn at school earlier. With Carl's help, they manage to force Gary to spit out the crayon piece, restoring the world to its natural state. In a moment of compassion, Harold helps Gary achieve his dream of living in his fantasy world by drawing a door for him to enter. As Gary steps through, Carl burns the door, sealing him in his imaginary realm. Later, Harold, Moose, Porcupine, Mel, and Terry visit a museum dedicated to the works of Crockett Johnson. While there, Harold discovers a note revealing the true meaning behind his creation. With a deeper understanding of his purpose, Harold, Moose, and Porcupine return to their own dimension, Before leaving, Harold gives Mel a pack of Crayola crayons, encouraging him to use his imagination to create his own adventures. Crockett Johnson's beloved 1955 book, Harold and the Purple Crayon, has always been cherished for its imaginative charm. However, the new live-action adaptation falls short of capturing the book's essence. While the film begins with a nostalgic 2D animated recap narrated by Alfred Molina, it quickly descends into a visually overwhelming and uninspired narrative. The plot follows a grown-up Harold, who uses his magical crayon to draw a portal into the real world in search of a missing narrator. Joined by his friends Moose and Porcupine, Harold encounters Terry and her son, Melvin, leading to a series of chaotic and unoriginal scenes. The film's portrayal of Harold and its storyline are problematic, with poor performances and clumsy execution that fail to engage viewers. The film's attempt to expand Johnson's simple story into a feature-length spectacle results in a disappointing experience. Characterized by uninspired visuals and a lack of genuine creativity, the portrayal of a librarian villain adds to the film's woes, making it a misguided attempt to capitalize on the book's legacy. Ultimately, Harold and the Purple Crayon is a missed opportunity. For those who truly value the original, it's better to invest in the book itself rather than this underwhelming adaptation. Thank you very much for watching the whole video. And if you have a movie or TV show that you want us to cover, just comment it down below. We'll make a video of it in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out our playlist for more recaps.